of religious education
on see,
if this
cool.
catechism.
Yeah, see.
What?
Oh, you heard me, Capone.
Okay.
Not that there are any of you in the chat room listening, but, you know, we like to be here punctually anyway. Yeah, see, punctual, see, yeah. Yeah, like on the ball. See, yeah. See? Okay. Whoever guest 337 is, your avatar makes you look like Blendin Blandin from Gravity Falls. I don't know if that's, you know. That was deliberate. That was deliberate. All right. My real question is, if indeed I have this set up so that the web stream will once again, the Catholic Underground web stream will actually once again do our radio show. Let's see, what's playing now?
The dots is one woman.
You're talking about on your radio?
Yeah.
Your radio station?
Yeah.
The CU radio station.
The CU radio station, which is proudly hosted by Catholic Community Radio's web stream.
Well, we need some jingle singers is what we need.
We do. Boy, do we need jingle singers in the worst way. Are you asking what that's all about, Kathleen? Well, I'm glad you did, because, hold on, let me...
Yes, I actually got to go to Memphis and Dallas for a couple of jingle sessions.
Oh, yeah?
That's always fun. And those guys are so good at what they do. They just sit there and crank them out all day.
What's that, Ed?
Well, yeah, it was Pepper Tanner. There was then it became William B. Tanner. But there was it Tams and what was that other one that you liked a lot?
Pam's?
Pam's, that's what it was.
They're the ones
Pam's.
who did all of the the quintessential ones that we remember.
The ones we remember. Oh, and I'm glad that finally the WKRP in Cincinnati seasons are being released.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. Even with my Prime membership, I have to pay. Per episode. I'd just rather just go ahead and buy the whole box set, but, you know.
This compilation is protected under copyright
Pam's, that's what it was.
That's right.
In fact, I knew a guy who was in the band that played over at Jam.
Oh, Jam Productions?
Yeah, Jam Productions.
Yeah, maybe in another life I could have been a jingle singer.
I think the thing that I loved most, and this was all analog days, you know, they didn't have any digital stuff when I went to these sessions, but he'd be like, no, and they didn't work the mics real close because they were, it was like a group. They put the
barbershop quartet sound.
Well, you'd have like the tenors and sopranos together, and then the altos.
That way they could isolate them.
The bass guy, and they would blend them and mix them. But they really used 3 microphones. And that was about it.
Really?
Yeah. And
that's tight sound.
They'd gather around. Yeah, but I mean, these cats, they did it all the time. They knew when they were right. And I can remember the director would be like, "Wait, heard mouth noise on that. Let's do it again." Yeah, that stuff. So. It was
Kathleen, mouth noise is not a good thing if you're a jingle singer. That's right.
Yep. You got it.
I gave a pretty hard-hitting post-homily about gum chewing today, man.
That's a no-no. What about those Budweiser T-shirts at Mass?
Those can stay.
I'm not kidding. This was like Sunday evening.
In the city, that happens more.
Oh, yeah.
But oddly enough.
These and his family apparently had been out all weekend they were making 6 o'clock mass. Thank goodness they came to mass. But
I was going to say, I can in some little way, I can understand. Like, oh, whew, we just made it.
but a 12-year-old wearing a Budweiser T-shirt
Yeah, well,
at mass.
well, the drinking age was lowered to 12
Turn it
in my
inside
house.
out or something.
Yeah, I don't, yeah.
Oh heavens! Well,
Yeah, but this is, you could say this is parents being oblivious,
yes.
or parents just not even thinking, or
I think that's what it is.
Father Ryan is in the chat. Presumably he is ready and rocking. Oh yeah, we need to make sure that your Skype computer is up because I don't see it there. Do we? Yep, there it is. Ha ha.
Magic. It was that finger right there. That's the one that made it happen.
That's the finger. It's the miracle acrylic bubble that makes it possible.
Oh, that's
Your
true.
3M.
That's true. I love it. Your 3M. Holy moly, Batman! Let's see if we can get old the Skype
The Scandinavian.
the Skype squirrels and chipmunks running tonight.
Well, that reminds me, I'm gonna see if I can take a look at the
What?
Clement.
What?
You got any tomatoes?
Why are you calling me? What do you want?
Actually, I saw Brother Clement the Redemptress today at the coffee call.
Oh, well.
Now, Brother Clement is probably pushing 80, okay? But he's one of these, he's a quintessential, he's one of probably the last Redemptrist brothers, so an unordained member of the of the Redemptrist order. He is probably one of the last lay brothers in the United States, and he drinks deep from the wellspring of life. And I saw him, and I looked over at his face, and it looked like somebody had just punched him square in the jaw. What? And then I looked closer, and I realized that it was in fact face painting.
Oh,
He says, "Oh, Father, I've been to the Italian festival," and I was like, "Oh, golly!" I thought it was like, which one of your brothers jacked you in the jaw?
oh well.
And that's my Clement story for today.
And we
That's
love
delightful.
Clement. Until next
I'm
week.
reading a whole article about Sazeracs.
Oh, I do like the Sazerac.
There's a bar in New Orleans called Cure.
Yeah, the Cure makes the best Sazerac in the city.
Well, he's got a new what he calls the cognac Sazerac,
Oh, I've heard of this. Yeah.
which it's expensive, but it comes
Yeah.
with 1840 cognac,
Oh my.
and it uses Demerara. So you always have to use Demerara sugar syrup, and then 2 dashes of bitters. I usually go for 1, and 2 dashes of
I used to.
absinthe, and then a twist of lemon.
Yeah, Father Ryan, if we're ever in the neighborhood, the Cure I think is one of the best.
I've never been
Uppity
there
bars.
before, but I've
Yeah.
brought the it's curenola.com for the one person listening online.
Aha. Yeah. Cure. I
it's
think they
pretty.
call it the Cure because it's right around where the Tulane medical students used to get together. Mm-hmm. And there is a giant cross section of a cockroach on the wall, like this big, like classroom banner, and it's got
They're
a.
using Squarespace for their server.
Of course they are.
I can recognize it. But you were saying about the bar.
That's okay. It's all right.
They're using the same.
Oh, I recognize
that
it
I am.
too. Yeah,
It's exactly the same theme I'm using.
parallax theme.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty though.
Except they've turned off the parallax scroll.
It's just.
Yeah.
It's nice though.
It's pretty. And they have Sazerac rye whiskey.
They do.
I've never
And
actually
that's-
bought Sazerac rye. I just use regular whiskey.
Oh, well, like
I mean,
regular
I-
rye whiskey, or
Well, I use whatever whiskey I have generally for my Sazeracs because I'm not really a purist in that drink. But when I'm making
I am.
when I'm making Roman punch, I'll always end up having extra rye whiskey around, and I'll
Oh,
make
yeah.
Sazeracs from that for the weeks or months that I have.
The Cure
used
has
them.
a great cheese plate. And I would
Sorry.
know.
Yes, you would. They have. This is just you all over. There's a dish called eggs mayonnaise.
Oh,
There sure is, with tarragon and chive.
I just threw up a little bit.
Well, no, it's Joshua Blanc that loves everything that includes mayonnaise.
Well, there is the one faux
Mayonnaise
Chinese
shrimp.
dish, that I like. The mayonnaise shrimp. Well, which I prefer to call it imperial shrimp.
Doesn't change anything. Is the lighting a little better this week? I'm trying some different layouts.
Ed says no.
No. Okay.
Well,
It is softer.
it's definitely better than it was,
yeah, I've got now coming from both sides.
but you're still wishy-wash.
It's softer in the back.
my desk is against a wall,
Yeah.
so there's nowhere to put the other light. There's no way to mount it.
Well, that's disappointing. I've always imagined what was on the other side of that camera.
Well, yeah, it's a wall.
It's the wall. Actually, a TV.
Well, there's right in front of me there's this monitor here, which you can see, and then there is a side monitor, 24-inch monitor on either side that way, and then above there is a 42-inch Vizio that's connected by Apple TV and by hardwire, and all that connects down to the audio bar right below. So if I really need to get a powerful sound, and it's all connected to my electric guitar rig, my bass guitar rig, the piano. It's all kind of integrated into one big thing. So if I want to sit down and record myself playing something, or if I want to, listen to a song on iTunes and at the same time play electric guitar through the system to it, I can do all that too.
Man, I need to come hang out at your place.
It's spectacular.
Well, I mean, and really, I was planning on coming up with Dave a couple of weeks ago, and it is political season, so I had some clients that
Wabbit thieving.
they just said, we got stuff to do. And as it turns out, I'm glad I didn't go because I wound up working till late that evening.
Yeah, I'm looking at a dog collar that costs $3.2 million.
Squeezy?
He doesn't have a dog.
How much?
No,
is
I'm
it?
not looking at it. Yeah, I'll share it in the chat.
All right.
It's a dog collar worth $3.2 million American dollars. Did you see it?
Must be blingy.
It is.
Let's see here.
You shared it in both chats. Whatever you want.
Suck it, France.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is.
Where did that joke even come from? I have no memory of where it came from, but it's still funny to me.
I wouldn't put that on Chunk if that is
Chunk is her dog.
ugly looking.
Yes, I gathered.
That is ugly.
I rarely gather, but I did gather in that case.
Well, the I guess that's a Pekingese, or is it a Pomeranian? I get
It
them
wouldn't
mixed
even
up.
fit. It wouldn't even sit right on Chunk.
No, it's
It just dangle off.
what do they call it? A friend of
Pansy
mine.
dog. That's what it is.
A Lhasa Apso?
No.
No, that might be a
turducken?
Papillon.
Yes, that's it. Papillon.
Papillon?
Papillon.
About Papillon. Papillon.
This is why we don't have French listeners.
Yes, I've got no qualms with that. I don't want the French.
Just
Hail Britannia.
bum bum ba-dum bum bum.
And we do like Canadians, too.
We're
by the
partial
way.
to them.
Even though they're French-speaking Canadians, but that's okay.
Don't paint me with your brush.
He'll do it too. He'll paint you with his.
Don't you dare come up to my house and paint on me.
All right. Are we done yet?
You ready? Yeah.
If only.
Yeah.
We've been at this for 8 years. We're never going to finish.
Yeah.
We're never going to finish
This
it.
is going to be one of those marathon episodes. Oh! Kathleen wants to know if you think we'll have the time if you want to talk about her thingy that she emailed like a week ago.
The list of crazy thingies.
Yeah.
It's down there at the bottom if you want to cut and paste it up to the top.
I'm just thinking if you think that we'll afford to drink your drink.
I mean,
Well,
it's we
we're
can certainly do it.
traveling.
The thing is, we're trying to do this as a perennial episode because we're going to be gone for the
That's
next
what I
3.
told her.
Right.
Yeah,
She doesn't
so it'd be
listen to me.
preferable.
That's fine.
No, she doesn't listen to me.
I did.
She said it, but I heard
Yeah.
what her feminine wiles were saying underneath it.
Oh.
My feminine wiles
Yeah.
betray me.
Uh-huh.
No, that's fine.
Again.
Ain't nobody got time for your wiles. Keep that to yourself.
Yes.
If I could, I'd give them away.
Anybody time
No.
for that wild?
It's 278.
Father Ryan, Father
Yes.
Chris,
Yep.
can y'all chime in about the Google Maps? Because I don't know everything Google Maps app does. I just know that when I'm driving along, and this happened a few weeks ago, but trying to get to New Orleans and looking ahead on the interstate to see where the slow areas were. 'Cause,
Yeah.
But it's just fascinating how.
It pulls it from Waze, which is another app.
Oh,
Yeah. Waze
Really?
is an app that, part of it is traffic data that they input.
Uh-huh.
There,
Right, yeah.
there are companies that are feeding
but
traffic
it was
data.
so
But
instantaneous.
Waze is a socially fed, so like other drivers feed when traffic slows up or like if I have Waze, so if I'm sitting
Okay.
in traffic, it'll say, "Hey, you're not moving. Are you sitting in traffic?" And it gives me like 3 options to say what kind of traffic I'm in: dead stop, heavy traffic, or light,
Yeah.
kerfuffle. And so then I'll just report that, and then that is then scrobbled by Google Maps.
But that's only in the morning.
That's only in the morning. You're supposed to be up cooking breakfast or something.
Huh. Well, this was an afternoon trip.
No, we were just
it
joking.
was, but
It's just a
We're
bit.
just,
wait a
we're
minute.
just joshing.
We're just doing a bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
no
we're
problem.
doing a bit. No, it's all day. All day.
A bit. Okay. All right. So put up the bit warning the next time you do that, because I'm liking that.
We're just doing a bit.
It's just saying give it a little bit of a bit.
Okay. Are you hooked up over there? Thank you very much. We needed a dinghy there,
We did.
and we got one.
No.
A monophonic dinghy, but that's okay.
I'm losing my voice very slightly, so I'm just gonna go.
Father Ryan, I fully expect this week to get sick, like with a cold thing.
Like with Ebola, when we drive through both Atlanta and Dallas.
I won't be going that way.
Well, yeah, you're going to just Atlanta. I'm going through freaking Dallas to Atlanta, so I can have the privilege of getting 2 Ebola-infested airports
Double
on my way to Italy.
Is that double Ebola?
Well, as an old Pentecostal friend of mine
got it, too.
said one time, because I felt like I was coming down with something, he says, "Well, that's a confession of your mouth, and I believe every word of it."
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
That's confession of your mouth.
I rebuke that in the name of Jesus.
That's right.
I don't claim it. There, I use my one
No, I rebuke it in the name of
non-Catholic
Jesus.
phrase.
All right.
That's what we used to do when we were charismaniacs. I rebuke that in the name of Jesus.
I guess this is enough to talk about. You know
Have
what
you
I've
not
discovered, and I'll probably
rebuke
talk about this on the show. I don't visit websites anymore.
Yeah, I kind of realized that too. I rarely ever, and when I do, I'm like, just get me the text. I don't really care about what's going on.
Yeah.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I'm so thankful that you put in the time and the research for doing these show notes, because,
That's why Father Ryan is the managing editor. We realized that was the way it had to be.
man, the last few weeks have just been. I'm lucky if I get to see the show notes.
Father Ryan is our Scott Pelley.
I don't know what that means. Can I be our Scott
Join the
Pilgrim?
No.
Scott Pilgrim.
Oh,
no.
I used to be 22 at one point, and my rating was awesome when I was then.
You could be our Stephen Stills.
I don't think I have really the talent. I think I'm uncomfortable. I'd rather be the redhead behind the drums.
Oh, the Kim Pine.
Yeah, I'm okay being her. Not really, you understand, because I'm a priest. But
No, actually, I think you'd be okay in that role, not actually as the girl, but you
In
would
the
be the one.
band.
You would be the one to tell me, Scott, if your life had a face, I would punch it.
yes, I've said that before,
Yeah.
or something similar to
Uh-huh.
it. And that, of course, would make Chris Redden Kieran Culkin.
Yeah, Wallace Wells. I'm not playing your little game, Kim's.
Fight!
Hey, it's that one guy.
That one guy.
West
Scott,
Barbecue,
Evil
New
Legs.
Jersey. I want to go there.
Yeah,
I guess in our show, you would have to be Scott Pilgrim.
yeah. I'm
It'll be
hapless.
necessary.
Absolutely.
I'm totally hapless.
Bing, 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 Matt, bing, Matt, bing, bing, Matt, bing, bing, Matt. We could do that as a bit when we get in the hotel room. We'll just spread my stuff out and have one bag.
That's right.
Just
Father
kinda
Ryan
do a-
stuff. Father Ryan stuff.
We'll do a quick pan and just beep, 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 beep.
Father-
We'll put it all in post.
Father Chris's stuff good. Father Ryan stuff better.
Matt, ding, Matt.
I really would like. I'm not putting any stock in it because I know we're not going to do it. But I do have video equipment that I'm bringing. I'm bringing my phone, and I've got my little lavalier mic that plugs into the phone, and I'm bringing your GorillaPod and my tripod thingy attachment.
Do you want me to bring any of my stuff that plugs in? I mean, I'm bringing my phone and stuff like that, but I'm not bringing any of my multitude stuff.
I don't know if we need your things.
mean, I have an extra lav mic, but if you already have one,
Yeah, I have one. It'll probably. I mean, those lav mics are Omni D.
yeah. But also, of course, I mean, if you want to do a stand up somewhere, I've got that. The iPhone 6 camera is hella good.
Does it come with a directional type microphone, or is it kind of still Omni?
You silly Jeff.
I'm
No.
just curious because I mean they,
No, you'd think
you
they
can
could.
mold and shape. They got these little I don't know what you call them, but these little pattern things you can.
The camera is just
emulators.
astoundingly good. I mean, it boggles the mind. And they have there are micro sensors in the camera, in the micro motors in the lens that actually adjust the
Stabilization.
stabilization.
Oh, that there's
and on
scary.
top of that,
Yeah.
for the photos, at least, for the photos, it actually has a burst mode where it takes 3 photos simultaneously
Yes.
and then patches them together for one high focus photo that you can then adjust the white balance on after the fact.
What?
See, the camera bit is the only reason I would even remotely possibly consider the 6 Plus.
Yeah, it kind of boggled my mind when I first looked at it because I mean I'm not a big photography oriented guy, but it's pretty insane. And the panorama shot is pretty nuts, and the ability the stuff you can add to, and of course there's slow mo and time lapse, but the stuff you can adjust is pretty wild.
Wow. By the way, I just sent you a picture there, Father Chris, of
On what?
my friend. Text.
Oh. Which social media did you? I see.
Yeah. Well, that's the lady that I felt like I had a connection with, as far as.
Oh yeah.
And she's not Catholic, but she's another brand, but.
And she's with Sheldon Cooper.
Yeah, and she's a talent director.
Oh, okay.
She worked for Hanna-Barbera for years, and then went to work for Warner Brothers, and now she's kind of like on her own.
No.
But she just sent that last week. A gig with Sheldon.
Yeah. See, a gig. See. Yeah. See.
He's nice.
And Father Chris, when you see the beauty that is Camera Plus with this thing,
Yes.
you're gonna go nuts.
Yeah, I'm
I
afraid
feel like you
of
have
that.
to have one.
I'm afraid of that. I am.
Well, Camera Plus, unlike the main thing, this one allows you to. Camera Plus allows you to adjust basically every detail of everything. It's pretty wild.
I don't want to know. I just don't.
And
And then I also have Afterlight, which you might like too, because it's pretty.
oh,
It's very nice. Okay. Put that aside. I did decide to leave behind one of my devices, so I will have an extra USB slot in my Magic Charger if you need to use it.
That's okay. I'm bringing my own.
Magic Charger 609.
Yep.
They better have a lot of plugs in our room.
Yep. They won't.
I'm planning on utilizing 2 of them for my own exclusive purposes, my own nefarious means.
I'm just going to tell you. Dying rooms don't have a whole lot of plugs.
You don't have to tell me. I tried to squeeze into that shower one time.
Italian men have more hair plugs than rooms actually have electrical plugs.
Yeah,
like it.
that like that.
So it was all.
So what else?
Delta, over the course of a year, orders over 60 million packs of Biscoff cookies.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I go to Walgreens to get mine, but I got to tell you, man, those things are like crack.
Yeah.
I cannot stop. There's something about that. I don't know if it's burnt sugar or brown sugar.
It is. It's caramelized.
Oh, my
sugar.
word.
That's what it is.
That was
69.6 million packs of peanuts and 93 million packs of pretzels on every yearly Delta flight.
my
well,
word.
total.
Yeah.
Disney is just knocking it out of the ballpark with their new stuff.
Yeah. And
Have you seen the Magic Band thing they do now?
Magic Band?
If you're a fan,
Oh, right, sure. They've gone Carnival Cruise with their.
Well, they've done that, but they also send you a customized box with everybody's name
Mhm.
inside the box. It looks like Apple packaging.
Mhm.
It's bonkers.
Because they know, probably what we'll talk about, they know that the UX is like 9/10 of the law.
It absolutely is.
The
What is
user
the
experience.
deal with this girl.
User experience. I like that.
This girl for confirmation is wearing a laced bodice with a choker.
That seems to me to be ill-suited.
Well, it's entirely modest. It's just
Oddest.
it really is odd. I mean, because it ends up being what amounts to a sleeveless dress with a laced bodice, and so
You
it.
recording?
I don't really know what to make of this dress. I really have got no idea. Huh? How odd.
Oh, that's
I'm
right.
thinking
Yeah, we
about
gotta
for
press
our
the-
confirmation. Oh yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, we're cool.
continue.
No worries.
I guess we need to pray,
Prayer
actually.
time.
We're late.
Yes.
We're-
1857.
Prayer time.
No time.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen.
Amen.
Almighty God, we give you thanks for this day and for the ability to help in the broadcasting of your gospel. We ask that you would keep us safe from any deadly attack of the enemy as well as our equipment. We ask all of this in the name of Jesus the Lord. Amen. Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
By the way, for this whole show, I've just kind of put you in charge of leading us through. There's not really any breakout, so
I will do my level best.
huzzah.
From the Catholic Underground. From one to thousands of copies. Claytor's Law Books and Publishing has a wide variety of books, including Coach Barrett Murphy's new book on six-man football, Barefoot, Bloodied, and Bruised. Want to know something about Louisiana politics? Get P. Patch Politics at Claytor's. Or a historical read on the fascinating third Archbishop of New Orleans in Spicing Ecclesiastical Gumbo by Father William Green. Since 1922, Claytor's Law Books and Publishing has been serving Baton Rouge. Claytor's Law Books and Publishing, 3653 Perkins Road, 225-344-0476, or online at claytors.com.
Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services is an independent insurance broker and has been a supporter of programming on Catholic Community Radio for over 2 years. Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services.
Lisa Flood and Susie McKenzie bring you stories of conversion and reversion to the Catholic faith on the next Kingdom Road.
As young mothers, we want our child to be smart. We want our child to be successful, secure, and happy. And I knew and I believed in my heart, in order for this to happen, that I would have to prepare my child when he or she was in my womb.
Don't miss Kingdom Road on Monday at 3:30 here on Catholic Community Radio.
Catholic Community Radio can't happen without your spiritual support, but we're also praying for you. Call our prayer force today, and we'll add your prayers to our growing teams of rosary groups, Eucharistic adorers, and small faith communities. 225-341-2720.
Pray for the unborn. 40daysforlifebr.org. Request prayer. Find out what's going on. Donate securely. WPYR.
Baton Rouge.
Catholic Radio.
For your community.
From the Catholic Underground.
Today on the Catholic Underground, Me Parish website, SSU Parish website, why that matters, we answer some back chat, our picks of the week, and so much more. The Catholic Underground starts right now. Stop that mouth noise. I heard it. It's time for the Catholic Underground, your weekly Catholic guide to the digital continent. It's episode number 278. I am Father Chris Decker. If you are listening live, you can join us at catholicunderground.tv and get your chat on with us. Joining me this week are the mouth noisiest Father Ryan Humphreys. He's the rector of the Minor Basilica of the Immaculate Conception in historic Natchitoches, Louisiana. Hello, Father.
Hello, world.
Also, Kathleen Lee. She is campus minister at St. Michael the Archangel High School in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and she is our fully licensed mouth noisiest faith ninja.
Well, hi.
Yeah. And we've also got Jeff Blackwell. Jeff Blackwell is the technical director of CU, and he's also the commandant of the Jeff Star 1 near-Earth orbit satellite. Hello, Jeff.
Well, let me just say it's a pleasure to be here.
He never has any mouth noise.
That's mouth noise.
Never. Ever. And then Ed Ball, he has no microphone, so he can't make noise with his mouth. He is on ball for our video direction for this episode. So, you're listening on the radio, presumably, and you're thinking to yourself, well, why do you need a video director on the radio? Well, that's because we crossed the threshold. The threshold I like to think of hope, that you not only get to hear us, but you can see us too over at catholicunderground.tv every Sunday live at 7 p.m. Central Time. So you can join in the wave here.
Yeah, well, here's the question. If an Ed Ball makes noise with his mouth in the video cave and no one's there to hear it, does he make a sound at all?
That is a great conundrum of our time. It really is.
Ponder that one.
I've pondered it, and you know what? I think I'm going to move on to the first topic. Today, we are going to brainstorm about what a good parish or diocesan website and or mobile app needs. Now, for some of you, you may just want to go and tune over to one of the broadcast channels for your daytime TV fix. But this is actually important stuff because whenever you more and more encounter a parish or a diocese, 9 times out of 10, you're going to encounter it over the web before you call them, before you visit. You're going to encounter them in their own web app, so you're kind of coming to their front door in the digital continent, and certainly you're going to have that first impact of, gee, this website looks great. There's something good about this. I want to stay here. Or, oh my, they're still using front page extensions. So, Father, would you say that the website or the mobile app provides kind of the doormat, the front doorstep of a parish or a diocese or even a personal website?
No, it absolutely does. It nowadays, that's what says this is how seriously we take it. And most of the time, you don't get a lot of words before someone looks at it. I look at a web page and I see a bunch of small convoluted text, and I immediately know I'm not dealing with professionals. I'm dealing with amateurs. Whereas you go to a website and you've got a big, beautiful picture, you've got a clear sense of navigation, whatever it is we're looking for, and we'll talk about it throughout the episode. You immediately say these people care about me because I'm on the web and they care about my web experience. And that initial impression, that first 3 or 4 seconds, has a gigantic impact. And so even the people who are not graphic designers, and which is pretty much everybody who is listening to the show, needs to follow along here, because you need to be able to go to your pastor, bishop, whatever, and say, Bishop, here's how I think the website ought to be, because it's not the professionals sitting in a closet somewhere with a neck beard, who are designing the sites that really know what people need. It's you people. It's the ones who are listening who know what you need. And so what we've got to do is find a way to get you, the laity, to be able to tell me and the clergy and those doing the work how it is that we can improve the experience, because without that back and forth, it really is just, a professional website that has nothing to do with evangelization and faith and the community of the church.
That's right. So it would seem to me that the externals, well, it's almost like the gospel for this particular weekend, that the outward wearing of the wedding garment is at least as important as what happens once it's on. The external is important because it points to what's going on in the internal, And I know, Jeff, have you ever navigated away from a website because it was poorly designed?
Oh, yeah. Quite often, especially early on, because it was new territory for a lot of people. But still, it boils down to the simple fact of when somebody arrives at that website, what are they looking for? Well, they need to know how to get in touch with you, where you are, if there's a phone number, if there's an email, pretty much simple stuff. But for a church, I'm typically looking for not only the location if I'm out of town,
right,
but mass times.
Sure.
And confession times. Those are like 2 of the top things to look for. But I've even been to some recently that I would get an email saying they're having a function or a fair or something this weekend, but go to the website and see nothing about it.
Right, there's no information, Having all those things synced up is yet another kind of component of this. And so we thought maybe we'd start out by just talking about some websites that are doing it right. I know, Father, I realized something about myself when I was researching this story, that I don't visit a lot of websites. I have kind of my standards that I go to, but a lot of my intake is through mobile apps or even through social media. I never really realized that about myself until I was looking at my browser history, and it's basically the same 10 websites that I go to, but they're well-designed ones.
Yeah, I think more and more people are coming to the site through Facebook or through Twitter, and we have to think about not just what the front page, because God help us, splash pages are a thing of the past.
Yeah.
But we've got to think about, is any page that my people are going to go to, is that page something that's going to be able to get them everywhere else in the site in a reasonable number of clicks? And that's something, again, we'll talk about a little bit further down when we talk about user interface.
Right, exactly. And so you have a language site as one of your they do it well kind of websites.
Yeah, one of my favorite websites is Duolingo.com. It's a website that teaches you other languages. It lets you interact. But what they've really got is they've got a focused site. There's a lot of stuff you can do. I mean, a mountain of stuff you can do. But when you go to that site, it's very focused. It's clear how they want you to do things. It's a beautiful site. It's very functional. It puts common tasks in my face and then puts less common tasks in kind of sub-menus a little further away. One of the big mistakes a lot of us end up making is we have this navigation bar that has 600 million options.
Yes.
when 99% of the people just want to click on one of three things.
Yeah.
Right.
So this site puts all that other stuff there, but it says these are the things you want to do, and it gets me right to it quickly, and I love that.
And that's difficult because I know whenever I have been designing a website for any number of parishes that I've been assigned, oftentimes I'll say, well, just put a link up on the website. Put it in the menu bar. You know, I don't know. Does that happen to you, Kathleen? You've never had to design a website?
No. Well, I mean, I think everybody,
wants it to be.
Yeah, and I have at some point when you used to have to. It wasn't so easy. Like
you have to dig down.
Yeah, and then it just got crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like websites where it's not. I can go to a website and pretty much figure out where things are.
Yeah.
But when they label things weird or try to get fancy, I'm like, look, I just need to find this, and it's not where it should be.
And that's a difficult thing too, to say what you mean and mean what you say. Will the person visiting the website know what you're talking about?
Right.
And I express a culpa there, a mea culpa, in that for the Catholic Community Radio website, I have community as one of the headers, and then underneath community are the various outreaches that we offer, like the Louisiana Catholic Business Network, asking for prayer and things like that. But as I think about it and as people navigate to it, I realize that community doesn't really say clearly what that section is, And so that's also where perhaps the designer and the more logistical person would have to come together, the user experience and the user interface as well. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So another one is Google Keep, huh?
Yeah, Google Keep is just a notes engine. It's very, very minimalistic. It's highly focused, and it makes it really easy to get at what I want. And again, usability is the big, big deal when it comes to Google Keep. But I think the website is beautiful because it's able to get to what I want, and it doesn't try to weigh me down with features that are unnecessary.
I have a silly question about Google Keep since we're talking about it. Does it interface at all with an iPhone? Because I know it's probably better on an Android device.
It's outstanding on Android, and it's useless on iOS. They have no app for it. There's no way to interface with it except a website. And so I basically had to transition out of using it. But when I was Android, I mean, it was spectacularly useful. It boggled the mind, and I really wish that Google Keep would have integrated with Apple's Notes app. Because it's a logical pairing, but it never did.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is sometimes Apple will play with Google, and sometimes they're like, no, we're already in this space, so we're not interested in collaborating.
I mean, do you think it's a money issue? I'm just curious.
Well, I would say yes, but I don't think so. I think Apple is more ideological when it comes to that sort of thing. They think we have even if they don't think we have the superior product, they'll say we have the better experience here. Yeah,
I've talked to a couple of them geniuses before. I know what you're talking about there.
That's right. Yeah. And Father Ryan knows well. The worst thing you can tell a graphic designer is you don't like what he's doing.
Yeah, I've been down that road a lot, and I will be down that road again.
It's true. I happen to be a graphic designer, so
it's too cartoony, Father.
Cool.
I'll cut your face open at the knife.
Look like a bat. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So other sites we like here, Father.
Yeah, the last one I'll mention is simple.com. I do all my banking online, which means all my money, 100% of it, is at simple.com. And their website is neat. It evokes a very high sense of confidence that I can trust this company with my money. And it, again, has a mountain of features, but most of them are hidden away, and the ones I need are right there in front of me. And they also do a good job of promoting features that they do that other banks don't, but they do it without cluttering up their website. And I think it's an expert example of top-notch web design.
Very cool.
But wait, I'm just concerned here because Father Ryan just told everybody where his money was.
He did, but he did not tell you his bank account number.
Okay. It's 612.
Oh, wait, no.
Never mind.
It's not
Don't
that
forget
kind
all
of
that.
show. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I also have a couple of sites that I go back to. Well, again, as a graphic designer, I kind of come at things from a different angle. I will go for the look, and then if I like the look, then I may come back for the information. And so webcomics.com is something that I've used for a while. They've actually they were using Squarespace for their hosting, and they've gone to a WordPress install. And I have to say it's not as pretty as it used to be, but it's got a little bit more functionality. And so this is basically a place for web cartoonists to go, and it's a forum for them to interact and to get critiques on their work. And there's a lot here, and they've got a lot of buttons all over and a lot of categories. And the reason I list it as something that I like, a site that I like, besides the fact that I use it quite a bit, is that I also see that there's a lot of good direction that they can go. They maybe just haven't done it yet. But again, it's artists trying to build a website, perhaps without the logic board, saltandlighttv.org is the website for Salt and Light TV out of Canada, who are friends of the CU. They're good folks. And they have a good number of blocks on their website, but I like the way that they break everything down. There's a lot of content that they have, and I can see that they're trying to figure out a way to push you to the content that they want you to see, but you can still drill down to the content that maybe is in archives or things like that, because they have a lot of stuff. And then lifeteen.com is really kind of come into their own. I believe they're using a WordPress install as well, and they're doing a lot of things that you see now on a lot of websites with color and just kind of throwing the headline up there to get you to click. That notion of making everything kind of viral. I don't know if you notice that everything is moving in that direction, Kathleen, that everybody is trying to get you to click on a headline.
Yeah.
10 things that you need to know about blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Or I did blah, 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 and I've never been the same since. The kind of the BuzzFeedification of
You'll
everything.
never guess what happens.
Right. I would like to think that I will never give a homily tease like that, ever. Because I see that's where it's going. It's going that way. Yeah. And then I would say themorningnews.org is another neat. It's a website that's come a long, long way, and it's kind of just a news site. And they've also got some culture stories. It's kind of like Slate.com, but they have a very simple design that scales depending on what your device is. And it's also they don't put a whole lot of stock in making things flashy. They just make it easy to read, and I enjoy it because it is like looking at a newspaper, and it's hard to get that newspaper look right on a website without trying to make it look actually like a newspaper, with the paper texture and everything like that. So those are some websites just basically off the top of our heads that do it well. Are there any, Kathleen, that you visit that you think are just well designed that you enjoy?
Yeah, it's one just because I don't go to a lot of websites. I mainly go to things on my phone. But one that I go to online a lot is Dumbox Ministries.
Oh, yeah.
They're a local ministry here, and I'm really involved with them, so I go to their website a lot. But it's just one of those websites that if I'm not looking for anything in particular,
You'll stick around.
It's easy to look around and say, oh, well, what else do they have going on? Or, and it's something that I don't have to be told, okay, go to the homepage, click on events, then click on the October tab, and then click on. No, I just want to be able to go and look through, and it's pretty nice. I like it.
Very cool. Yeah, Father Ryan and I did the Dumbox website way back in the day before there were content management systems.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're obviously using a content management system now, but they weren't way back in the day. So many years ago. Okay, so are there websites that we really don't like?
Well, I think that one of the worst website, one of the worst mistakes a website can make is to become dependent on fads. Like Pinterest, for example. Pinterest did a really interesting new way of presenting data, and they did it interestingly and they did it well, but then everybody felt compelled to copy it.
Right.
And a lot of people did it poorly. And to me, eBay and Facebook are two websites that are both very dependent on fads. Facebook's infinite scroll, eBay has infinite scroll. And so if I want to find something that's on page 60 of some kind of search, if I really want to hammer down and spend an hour searching for something on eBay, it's impossible for me to get back to it by search. I've got to know the URL of it, or I'm just completely dead in the water. And Facebook, which rearranges its posts because of this infinite scroll stuff, means that if I found something and that tab got closed, I can't get back to it. I've got to completely reevaluate the whole thing. And Goodreads is another website that does things badly in that it's clunky, it defaults to options I don't want, and it tends to fail to try to get toward any web fads, like quality or big text. And so, there's a difficult line with web fads. I think that a lot of mistakes get made in, some trying way too hard to do whatever is new and cool, some being way, way behind the curve, and then some, like YouTube, just failing to acknowledge the way people use the web. I mean, the fact that YouTube is not very tab friendly and doesn't deal well with tabbed browsing, that in and of itself is an annoyance. And so I think there are some websites that really struggle because they don't pay attention to what people actually want. They're too obsessed with what could be and don't spend enough time worrying about what people actually want to do with their site.
It's kind of the let me sell you something and then tell you what it is kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and we used to make websites, Father Chris, that were very, very, graphically driven, and they were beautiful websites, but we never had content for them.
Right.
So we would create this wildly complex, really beautiful, very sophisticated site, but it didn't have anything to do with what we actually wanted the end user to experience. And so we got discombobulated, disconnected, and the website's never really caught on.
And that's true. That's actually how Catholic Underground spent its first 5 years of existence. Just kind of, yeah.
Really?
I didn't ask you, Jeff, if there are websites that you liked that...
I have a couple because these are people that I deal with in the production biz.
Industry, yeah.
A dear old Catholic friend of mine, Everett Latchley, has hardatitstudios.com. But I like the way when you go to his site and you just, there's like no buttons. You just kind of scroll.
Oh, parallax scrolling it's called.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
Parallax. Yes, he did tell me that. So, but it's neat because you scroll down and then there's videos that kind of rise up as you're scrolling down that you could play and look at his video production or his photography examples, but it's kind of all right there in one place, and there's not a bunch of buttons on it, so it's right up top. But then also WBRZ.com, theirs is very well organized too, and you just kind of scroll down, and I'm telling you, within 2 clicks, like if I was looking for traffic information or something, I can find what I need, or want to look at the weather radar, for example.
News sites are coming a long way.
Yeah,
I think of the Gannett companies, like WWL is a Gannett company in New Orleans, and they are all modeling their news organizations that they own, so their television stations and their group that they own, after the redesign of USA Today. And USA Today is a website that has redesigned itself several times, and they're really good at organizing their content. And so now all of their news sites are kind of being compelled to do the same thing. And that is a good kind of trickle down. They're like, well, we have this engine already, so we want you to start using it for your content. And a lot of news sites, I find, tend to try and cram a lot onto the front page.
Yes.
A lot. And the Gannett stations tend to do a lot better job because they've already got, well, we're owned by a newspaper, and that newspaper has to generate revenue by getting people to look at it, and so it has to be visually appealing.
Is the website kind of color-coded?
It is, yeah,
really
because
is? Okay.
USA Today is color-coded,
right.
as you know. And so they color code the same thing on their websites for the stations that they own.
Yeah.
And they even go one more. That color coding is also in the graphics on screen.
Oh, really?
It's a very, very good organizational tool.
Yeah. So weather is a gold color on USA Today, it's also a gold color on their stations group's websites, and it's a gold color whenever their characters come up, the lower thirds come up on the screen.
Wow.
So it's a really clever integration, and those are the sorts of things that we, I know I certainly do, I like to see, so that your eye will go, oh, that gold color means weather. And I'm watching it on TV, oh, that's where I go in the newspaper. So really, it gets you to want to maybe buy into the whole package, you know, the kind of the Appleification of things. I want the whole garden, the whole walled garden. That's where I want to live and set up my hovel, you know. So yeah, those are some websites that work, and those are some websites also that maybe don't work so well. But whether they work or they're not, we are the Catholic Underground. I'm all about mouth noise. It's like I'm eating soup. You are listening to the Catholic Underground. We are always here at CatholicUnderground.tv. I am Father Chris Decker. Joining us on Skype, we have Father Ryan Humphreys. Jeff Blackwell joins us from his audio space, and Kathleen joins us from inner space.
Yeah.
Because she is herself. Yeah. So we are talking a lot about websites and about good design and bad design, and this is one of those free-flowing episodes that we hope will make it into just things that you listen to whenever you need inspiration. I don't know about y'all, but there are websites that I visit whenever I need inspiration, and then there are podcasts that I listen to when I need inspiration, just to kind of give my brain something to brew on. You know, in fact, I was telling Jeff, actually I was telling my dad this today, that I have been working on a video for the Capital Campaign for Catholic Community Radio for at least 3 months or so, if not longer.
Bless his heart.
And the reason that it was stalled was because I couldn't figure out graphically how to tell part of the story.
Yeah.
It was a period where Jeff had done the voiceover, and I was thinking to myself, well, I know that's what I want him to say, but I don't know visually how I'm going to say it or to show it. And I was showering, shower time, and then it hit me. That's how you tell the story of the towers, and that came about because I was looking at a few websites. I had seen a few things, and I had heard a podcast about design. And it just all kind of congealed together. And so inspiration is very, very important. Yeah. Whether you're an artist or not, you might be a writer, you might be more logically oriented, but perhaps this is one of those podcasts that gets you to start using your noggin, and maybe it'll fire a piston in your imagination. That's part of what we do at the Catholic Underground. We fire the imagination. Not like you're fired, but anyway. So
About to say, I'm a little nervous.
I don't know what this is one of those episodes, y'all. So the parts of a website and mobile app that make it work, really, before you even get to the depth of the code, a lot of mobile apps that are worth their proverbial salt are right on the surface with what we call the UI, the user interface, or the UX, the user experience. And so, Father, what makes a good website or mobile app from that standpoint?
Well, generally speaking, you want something that is objectively beautiful. Even if it's something that is minimalist, you want to choose a font that's pretty. You want to choose something that is aesthetically pleasing. And so it needs to be beautiful no matter what it is. And beauty is a function of proportion, a function of symmetry, a function of color. And so beauty is a big part of it, because if it's appeasing, then your user interface kind of follows logically. And the distinction is we call the UI, the user interface, are the actual elements that are on the page, whereas the user experience is the way of mapping out what you're going to do, what you're going to see, how you're going to interact with the site. And while they are similar, they're not identical. So after we make something beautiful, it needs to be easy to read. It needs to be responsive. So if I'm looking at it on an iPad or a phone or a big monitor, it all looks like it's meant to be on that monitor. Yeah. It should be internationalized. But perhaps the most important thing is it has got to be simple and easy to learn. There has to be a very, very shallow learning curve for a website. If I get to your website and I need to take a course to understand how the navigation works, we're done. But if I go and I say, okay, here are the 3 most common things we're going to go. Here's an FAQ. Here's an explanation of what your service is, and here's how I sign up. Then you're golden. But there has to be a very, very clear sense of how do I learn your interface fast and intuitively.
That's right. Rule number 3 of Father Chris Decker's design rules, rule number 3 is keep it simple, Simon Peter. Mm-hmm. Kathleen, would you like to know what rules 1 and 2 are?
Oh, please tell me.
Rule number 1 is make it not look like a prom t-shirt.
Okay.
Rule number 2, no Comic Sans ever.
Oh.
Ever.
Yeah. That's
what. And we should add that there should be a rule that it has got to be free from stupid stuff. No pop-ups, no layers, no 9-point font, no god-awful banner animated GIFs that have noise production and other things that make me want to drive to wherever it is you live and hit you with a stick. And until you've got, if it's cluttered, you've got to rethink your design for minute one. So please don't do stupid stuff.
That's right. Even Ethan Zuckerman, who worked for tripod.com from 94 to 99, apologizes to all of humanity for creating the pop-up ad. And rightly so.
Why he did that?
Well, because like many things, he needed the money.
Yep.
And
I hate that.
And Tripod, I don't know if you remember tripod.com.
Oh, yeah.
But tripod.com was one of the first free web hosting sites, so people like Father Ryan and myself who wanted to put our name out there and get our digital space reserved.
Yes,
It's kind of like the Klondike Gold Rush, or the Land Rush. You go and you stake your claim.
Yeah.
Tripod was one of the first places you could do that, but the only small little caveat in the whole thing is you had to have a banner. And then that banner eventually was a pop-up ad. And that pop-up ad was eventually like a whole screen that popped up, and before you could get to the website.
And I'm sure you didn't have control over the content of that.
Generally, no.
Yeah.
Generally, no. And there were a lot of different types of things hosted on tripod.com back in the day. And not all those things that were advertised as you were coming to your digital space was, we'll just say, formidable for families.
Family friendly, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. What about Papyrus? Is that allowed anymore as far as font?
What?
Don't push it. Don't push it. Do not push it.
That might be a fourth rule if there
Danger.
I knew that Comic Sans was out, but okay.
Yeah, Papyrus is getting there,
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got the user interface and the user experience down. There's also got to be content on your website or in your mobile app. And that has to be focused, doesn't it, Father? This is usually where I get hung up.
Yeah, it's difficult sometimes to figure out how to organize your data. And in fact, some people have so much data or try to put more than they need that they end up having a very hard time figuring out how to organize it. And so when in the nerd world, we call it scoping your data and saying it needs to be easy for me to get to. Like, for example, if you want to have a website that's going to include a social segment and also going to include a full-on Bible and also going to include water skiing videos, then you need to find a way to scope those in such a way where if I want to quickly exclude all the videos about water skiing, then you've got to organize it. Like one of our very favorite people, Father Z, has a blog, and it's not scoped very easily. And so if I don't want to see pictures of food or birds, it's somewhat difficult to surf his blog.
Yeah.
Now, WordPress invented tags, keywords, and things like that in an effort to kind of make this happen. But developing a website means you actually have to put all those tags and keywords in. And so, it's got to be that way. This is also important because as a nerd myself, I think that everybody should think like me. So I organize the website according to what my brain thinks is right, not necessarily according to what ordinary people think. And so even me as the priest tends to organize my parish website according to what I as the priest think is the right organizational system. And then my people are wildly confused. So there needs to be a back and forth between you and other beta and alpha testers to say, what is the right way to organize this? Because you're not just going to know on your own.
That's right. Your parishioners make some of the best beta testers, that you can say, did you find this easily? Did you find what you were looking for? And usually if it's me, Father, it's pretty, but no, it took me a while. Yeah. And so, use the people around you, I know I do. And I try not to get, offended whenever they say, no, I couldn't find a thing.
Yeah. But that is important, and I'll tell you, and I don't know if I'm getting in trouble for saying this, but even I've been to, let's just say, a diocese website in search of information, and it was difficult to find it.
And the thing is, some of that is from the back end, in terms of how the person who's inputting the data, the content, is able to navigate. Some of it is how it is then presented on the front.
Beautiful pictures, but it was hard to find a particular department I was looking for, because it was grouped in with something else. So.
And that's several diocese websites that I've looked for, had to get information from. It's not an easy thing to do, especially with a thing like a Catholic diocese. There are a lot of different departments. There is a lot of information out there, but I do find that a lot of dioceses that are hiring young designers who are usually pretty darn Catholic, they're getting a lot better because they're helping to guide. From the standpoint of, well, this is what I do. This is how I use a website. Let me help you.
There you go.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So what does a parish website need? I think, first of all, it needs your basic boilerplate stuff like Jeff was talking about, right? It needs mass times. It needs sacramental policies, like what happens for weddings and funerals. And, of course, it needs to have contact information. How do I get in touch with you? How do I send my information to you so you can update your sacramental records? Is there anything else, Kathleen, that you can think that your parish website should have?
I think the most important thing is that it stays current. That if something's going on this weekend, that I can find information on the website about what's going on this weekend.
Right.
And I found that a lot of church websites don't do that. It's very, I'm just going to throw up some information on there, and they're getting better, but I remember going to, especially like youth group pages, trying to find youth events, and it was all like a year old.
Yeah.
That's what's most important to me.
Yeah, keeping things updated is definitely an important thing, right? Father Ryan, are you there with us?
I am here.
Very good. I know we had a little power blink, which was very interesting, and it provided some good audio and video experience. So it needs the boilerplate stuff. It also needs context.
Yeah, I think there's a certain amount of context that you want for people who are coming to your site, not necessarily as your parishioners, but as people who just kind of want to know a history. Again, that's where you do want some links, but I think the thing that all parish websites are missing is catechesis.
Yeah.
A lot of people come and say, I want to know what the Catholic Church believes, because every Protestant denomination has an explanation of their beliefs on their website. But it's rare to find a Catholic church with any kind of catechetical formation at all. All you get is a link to the Vatican, as if that's in any way helpful.
Right.
Or a link to the USCCB, which is even less helpful, because both of those sites are designed, by blind, drunk walruses. And so,
we can't back that up, but
not certified data. But I think that catechesis is the big, giant, missing contextual thing that a lot of websites really need to work hard on.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that we don't often think about. We as Catholics tend to think of ourselves perhaps in a bubble that, only other Catholics are coming to our parish website. But that's not always the case.
Right.
Especially if it's like a big city parish, where everybody knows the name of this parish and everybody kind of associates the Catholic Church with that parish. Yeah, I think that there is at least some understanding that you would have an explanation of what other perhaps Protestant churches would say, what we believe, our creed, So, yeah, good stuff. Also, forms. I find that in my parish, parishioners always want forms. So, faith formation registration, forms for signing up for baptismal prep and things like that. And then perhaps the biggest bugaboo, if you will, if I may use that. Kathleen, this is what you were talking about, events.
Yeah.
An events calendar that's constantly updated. Hard to do.
Yeah, it is. I bet it is.
You gotta have somebody on that, on that 100%.
And I think perhaps that's one of the most important things is what do you do if you don't have, like Father Ryan does, a full-time person who updates the website, who does design for the website and that sort of thing. I mean, is this I don't know, what would you think, Kathleen? Would this be a parishioner? Would this be the the pastor that does it or the secretary? I
yeah,
mean,
it's got to be somebody committed to it. It can't. It really can no longer, I think, in my opinion, be a volunteer position.
yeah.
Because it just is that important. It has to be done well, you know. And when these things first started taking off, you know, it was very easy to get somebody, a youth, really, most of the
Yes,
time.
just right. We'll get a 15-year-old to
Yeah,
do it.
why don't you volunteer and keep up? Okay, yeah, that worked out real well. No, it didn't. I think it's very important. I think a lot of parishes are catching on to have a full-time media PR person, you know, who's in charge of their Facebook, who's in charge of their website, who's in charge of their Twitter. You know, and the parishes who have done that have done it really well. But if it's not in the budget, you know, I don't know. That's hard. Maybe it has to be in office. Maybe it has to be, you know, a parish staff member.
And that's tough stuff, Father, because you know as well as I do that it's not always a hireable position for parishes.
Well, but I don't think it's as difficult as people make it out to be. And the reason I believe that is because, I mean, I don't have somebody who does my website. I do my website. I have somebody who updates the bulletin.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I think if we think out in advance what we want to do and then slowly roll out features as they come. Now, of course, I'm speaking as somebody who knows how to do this. If I had to also learn how to use software,
right,
you know, that would be a different animal. And of course, that's one of the reasons I use Squarespace.com is because it's so easy. There's no actual learning of anything. I just type stuff in, and I can let other people kind of share in and do some of the interaction. But I think that the hardest part about the website is the part we haven't gotten to yet, is that part that's associated with the digital parishioner. Because in my brain, you know, you have the brick and mortar parishioner who does want sacramental data, events, and stuff like that. But then you have your digital parishioners who are mainly there for your social interaction, your catechesis, and then whatever kind of portal kind of interaction you have. You may have a cool service or whatever. And I think those people, that takes an enormous amount of energy because that's just like ministering to a person in real life.
Yeah.
But I think that if you have a good boilerplate, good context, and you set up, you know, just a basic handful of things that really need to be updated, your bulletin, your events, your calendar, things like that, that's not overly difficult, especially if you use something like MailChimp to handle your bulletin, and if you use something like Google Calendar, which can easily be integrated with your website. And then you just put your Google Calendar up there and you say it's automatically uploaded because the secretary is maintaining the parish calendar. Right. So I think if we just think about it better, we can actually cut a lot of the corners and not need to have somebody sitting at, you know, at a website all day.
That's very true. Guest 337 in the chat room says, it's nice when these sites have something of an invitation, e.g. other denominations welcome, all welcome to observe. Feel free to reconnect with your faith at our parish. They said, like from a previous podcast, it's important to make people feel welcome whose standing in the church is in flux. And that is part of being aware of the digital parishioner, you know, and that's very, very important as well. So moving very quickly into a mobile app for a parish, I would say that number one is to make the website stuff accessible. That's really what it's there for, right?
Yeah, I think that's the first step, is to say all that data that you felt was necessary to share on the website is also available on the parish mobile app, because if somebody wants to know about your parish, they need to be able to get to it quick and easy.
And some thoughts. I like this, Father. Uploading photos to us. There are a lot of news sites that are doing that, you know. But to be able to upload a photo and then we might put it on our parish website or our parish photo stream. That's a really great idea. Or to ask a question. This is one of those things where oftentimes you don't get to corner a priest and ask him the question, so maybe have an open question box. And this is different than having a suggestion box, you know. Because you can filter some of that. And then, Father, I like this idea to propose a sermon. Father, what you really need to preach on is this, you know? And then the notion of gamifying something. So I know actually a couple of our friends over at Austin Catholic New Media gamify their experience of going onto the church campus by using Foursquare. And so they're constantly trying to stay mayor of their church parish. And, you know, and have it not be the clergy, but they have this big parish, and so they're going there in the morning to drop their kids off for early learning, and then they're coming after lunch to pick them up, and then they're coming back later for an adult education or for faith formation for their kids or something. And so they're constantly coming back, and it's a way to gamify being involved in parish life. I think that's really great, especially for like a city parish or something.
Yeah.
Or you check in, like you say, Father, at the high school football game.
Yeah, I mean that's an incredibly fun way, and it really works well because people like to do stuff like that. They like to know that, and even if it's just a link in your app to open Foursquare, you know, that's not hard to do. But man, is it really cool because it makes people get into your app more, and the more eyes on your app, the better.
That's very true, and certainly that's what we're looking for. So let's see. We also want to increase knowledge and love of God in digestible bits. And that means having prayers on a mobile app, or even signing up for text alerts for those sorts of things. I underestimate as a priest how important little scripture tidbits are for folks. And then of course little factoids and trivia. I know, Father, there's probably a lot of factoids and trivia about Immaculate Conception in Natchitoches.
There really are, and of course, it may not be kosher, but you can steal a lot of really interesting stuff from Catholic Trivia Pursuit and stuff like that, where people are fascinated to know. Did you know there's a saint who actually flew, who's the patron saint of aviation?
Yep.
Did you know there's a patron saint of barbecue?
Yep.
I mean, these are just kind of quirky things, but
Come on.
if you know that's there, then you flip open your app and you go, I'm going to go on the app every morning because there's some new quirky little thing.
I like
It's a way
that.
to keep people coming back. So catechism
There you go.
quote of the day. Figuring out a way, as you say, to gamify something, and then to provide assistance. This is something that I don't know if we're actually working in the space to do this, but did you know, Jeff, that the Angelus should be said at 6 a.m., at noon, and at 6 p.m.?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why the bells ring at the church usually
Yes.
those times a day.
Yes.
But imagine having that reminder that you don't have to set yourself, but that your parish website or your parish mobile app will send to you.
I love it.
Kind of a neat idea.
Yes, I like that.
And then, of course, Father, one of your favorites is to remind your parishioners of a holy day of obligation.
Yeah, I love the idea of doing that, or being able to say, realize tomorrow is the patron saint of this person, as patron saint of whatever, so remember to do this, or tomorrow is a feast day, or tomorrow is a fasting day, or tomorrow's a day of abstinence, remember not to eat meat tomorrow. Stuff like that's so helpful.
Yeah.
That's right. And then being able to share that stuff, too, is really important.
Yeah, I mean, just being able to, to hit a button and say, I'm just going to share this on Facebook. And of course, Father, you make all those really cool little Facebooks, placards, little 500 by 500 things that, are quirky and say, remember the Assumption is tomorrow. And being able to include stuff like that is really fun.
Those sorts of things have gotten more shares from our Catholic Underground Facebook page than Sonny ever knew what to do with. We're going to take time for, I don't know, maybe one of these.
CatholicUnderground.com.
Haven't heard that in a while, have you? So from Tech Catholic somewhere in the multiverse, Catholicism and tech all in one place. Who knew? What a great episode in which to discover you. If only I'd found you sooner. Well, we were thinking the same thing about you, Tech Catholic. Regarding the travel router, which we talked about a little while ago, I thought it might be something I needed for better security. However, when I researched it more after seeing it mentioned in the episode, I realized that it does not provide better security when using hotel or other free internet access, as I understand it. While it can create a safe network of your own devices behind the router, the moment any one of those devices requests information past the router to the hotel's or the other host's free internet, it's not secure. A VPN connection would still be needed. So, if you were only needing to use one device on the free internet service, the travel router is not necessary, but a good VPN still and always is needed to avoid swimming in the bus stop's hot tub, as Father Ryan described it.
I love that image.
It is. A travel router does make sense if you need to use multiple devices on the free service, but not without a VPN. Father, would you agree or disagree?
I would agree, and circle gets the square. No, it's always good to have a VPN. I have a VPN that goes through a couple of different places. It randomizes, and so when I'm not at home, I never use free Wi-Fi anywhere.
Yeah. There you go. I actually have a VPN as well, and I can't get it to work on my iPhone. So
Yay!
there it is. Yeah. I guess we have time for this other.
Let's do it.
Okay.
We got time.
From Claire in West Barbecue, New Jersey. I just made that up, but anyway. First, I want to express my deep gratitude for your apostolate. I can remember the old days, and I am happy when I reflect on how we all have progressed throughout the years. I still remember episode 100, and boy, do we remember 100. You have traveled with me in the USA, Central America, and Europe. We live in a profoundly different world now than when you began, and the CU is even more necessary and relevant at this juncture than before, and that is saying something. Second, thank you so much for talking on. I'm sorry, I'm reading this poorly. Thank you so much for taking on celibacy and chastity. As a single woman living chastely, I too consider celibacy to be a great gift. I wish we could hear more about the beauty of chastity in all walks of life. Chastity in marriage is likewise a lovely gift. Was it St. Francis that wrote that complete celibacy may actually be easier than chastity within marriage, as marriage does not permit one to satiate an unbridled sexual appetite? I believe he likened marital chastity to anger. In your anger, do not sin, from Ephesians 4:26. In your expression of your God-given gift of marital relations, do not sin. This is so difficult in our culture, yet the grace bestowed through its practice is beyond our comprehension. Again, please know how much Catholic Underground means to me and how much I have learned throughout the years by listening to you. You have greatly fomented my spiritual growth, and I have won the respect of many a 20-something by passing on information about the digital continent that I have gleaned through the CU. I'm 47, trying very hard to stay abreast of the burgeoning technological advances. You will all remain in my prayers. Thank you, Claire. And Claire even includes a P.S. If I could just ask one tiny thing, it would be to please be careful when introducing people. For example, this is Donald Duck. He is the cutest fowl in the room. The subject pronoun he is not needed and is actually grammatically incorrect, as the subject is just on the other side of the comma or period. Sorry, it is just the linguist in me coming out. I have never thought of it, but you are absolutely right. And I dare say I would hope that you don't go back all 200-something episodes and count those up because, yeah. But Claire, thank you very much for your back chat. And let us know what your back chat is at CatholicUnderground.com is the way to do it. Backchat at CatholicUnderground.com. And, of course, if you backchat to us, be aware that we may very well use your backchat on the show. My goodness. Well, if you've been listening for over 277 episodes, then you know what this sound means.
The CU Pick of the Week.
Alrighty, our first CU Pick of the Week. I think we're going to head over to Kathleen.
Yay, I'm back in the number one slot.
Number one with a bullet, Kathleen Lee with her Pick of the Week.
Yes, indeed. Okay, this, I'm waiting for the cold snaps to come here in South Louisiana.
They're not coming, child.
It's hot.
It's very hot.
It's very hot. So I dream of winter times. And one of the groups that I've kind of been keeping up with is this group called Crochet Kids.
Oh.
Both with a K, Crochet Kids. And their website is crochetkids.org. And what it is it's three guys who are friends all the way from high school. And they grew up snowboarding and doing all kinds of winter sports. And one of them was taught by his older brother how to crochet. And I don't know.
You don't think of this as being a guy thing, but yes.
And so he, in turn, taught his other two friends because they wanted to make their own, headgear. Their own,
beanies and hats and whatnot.
Because they weren't really satisfied with what was out there. And so they kind of parted ways, but they would meet every summer for a mission trip. And they would go and discover just what's out there in the world. And they were going to all these third world countries and experiencing this poverty. And so they thought, man, we need to do something about this. So what they did was they thought how simple it would be if these three guys could learn how to crochet, how simple it would be to teach people in these third world countries how to crochet as well. And so they started in Uganda, and they found these women who had been in this refugee camp for 20 years, and they'd just been sitting there. There's nothing to do. And so they taught them, and they were blown away at how quickly they picked this up. Yeah. And so now they got nonprofit status in 2008, and now they have over 150 women in both Uganda and Peru, and they teach them how to crochet, which is relatively simple.
Yeah.
And they pay them a fair wage, and they create this opportunity for these women to be educated, and to have a job that allows them to most of the times get out of this cycle of poverty.
Wow.
And so you can go to their website, and a couple years ago I went when it first kind of started, and all they did was headwear. So hats
I remember this, as a matter of fact.
And now they do things like scarves, bags, some apparel, and other accessories. And It's pretty. I mean, it's a good price. I mean, you're gonna pay about $30 for a hat, but it's awesome. And on each tag on the inside of each article you get, it says the person who made it signed the tag.
Awesome.
Nice.
And it says where it comes from. And so, I'm always looking for things like this that I can support. That I get cool merchant. Their stuff is really cool looking.
Yeah.
By the way, and that I can support, and it goes to something deeper or to something more. And so my pick of the week is crochetkids.org.
And just going through the What We Do, Our Impact, they have some very compelling data on how they are helping, especially women and their families, rise out of poverty, and that's and to provide education as well.
It's a nice little website. Too.
It is. It's a very well designed website.
Yeah,
that's true. That's very true. Jeff, your pick of the week.
I have fallen in love with Google Map app, and there's not a lot to say about it. I use it for traffic and as a like a GPS for like what do they call it? Like the Tomcat or what? I forget the name of that. The ones you like
the Garmin or whatnot.
Garmin, yeah. But anyway, so I like it.
It works.
It's easy to use, and you tell me that there are other ways that it gets its information because it happens so fast.
It does.
I like the Google Map app.
Yeah.
Father Chris, what is your pick? I don't know. I didn't have a lot to say about it. I just like it.
That's all right. That's quite all right. My pick of the week actually is something that I will go ahead and give a PG rating. PG rating because it's in the entertainment category. Okay. But I remember in the early days of YouTube, fan-made films, guys that would get their video camera, and of course these were the early days maybe of digital cameras. They would get their digital camera and go and make a fan film like a Superman homage or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this one is a Nightwing series that's fan-made, and it is cinema quality.
Really?
In fact, I watched a little of their behind the scenes. They've got a couple of guys there that are actually molding the chest pieces that make up Nightwing's armor. And they do a body cast of the guy, and they do a head cast, a head mold to get the mask just right. I mean, these are pretty serious folks that are. I can't even imagine how much cash they're dumping into this, but what a hobby, And so it's just really, really well done, and they're telling the story of Dick Grayson of Nightwing. And so if you like the Batman series and you like kind of the next step that they haven't told yet, then you might want to give this a look. Of course, again, PG because there's some adult content in it, and certainly some adult language. I don't often recommend things like this because I haven't seen all of it yet, but I'm going to go ahead and say give it a yellow alert as you're watching, but just bask at the eye candy that is really good cinematography. That's my pick of the week. Father Ryan, your pick of the week.
My pick of the week is an app for iOS called Dark Sky. Dark Sky is what they say they are hyper local weather, and basically all they're doing is they're grabbing the local weather from whatever data service they're using, and it's remarkably accurate. I mean, and it tells you rain starting in the next 6 to 8 minutes.
Wow.
And then it says light rain starting here, medium rain, and heavy rain in the next 3 minutes. For the next 12 minutes. I mean, it's incredibly accurate,
and it's pretty.
And it is. It's very, very pretty. It's easy to use. It works on iPhone and on iPad, and of course my gigantic iPhone 6, monstrosity. But it's beautiful, and it's extremely accurate, and it has a really nice set of notifications to tell you when you're when you're about to get wet, and when you're not. It's really, really easy. It's better than any of the other weather systems I've used. It is very free, and it's called Dark Sky for iOS, and the link is in those show notes.
In the chat room, Tim the Sim, you might remember him.
Yes.
Oh, wow, it's like a Seuss book writing itself. I found that the note, he's talking about, I wish you could get Siri to automatically go to Google Maps instead of Apple Maps. And I would wish that too, because Apple Maps has not quite found the secret sauce.
Yeah.
Not yet, anyway. Right. And then Matt in the chat room says, solution, just buy an Android, to which Tim the Sim, you remember him, It says, I will never switch to Android. And I guess you get this sense of
Never.
Of Tim the Sim, having his arms bound. I will never switch to Android.
The Bearded Wonder.
That's right. Exactly. He could have his own radio show. All righty. Jeff, we thank those who benefact.
Oh, yes. And this week, Catholic Underground is possible because of people like Christopher and Matthew. So join the growing number of undergrounders at catholicunderground.com/donate. And also portions of the Catholic Underground are brought to you by audibletrial.com/Catholic Underground. That's audibletrial.com/Catholic Underground.
That's right. Well, really, 4 ways to support us. Number 1 is to help out by giving audibletrial.com a shot. The most important thing you can do is pray for us. The second most important thing you can do is tell somebody else about the Catholic Underground. Go and tell them. And then, of course, if you can, benefact. If you can go over to the donate zone, well, you know what to do. Yeah. All right, if you want to find the show notes that accompany this episode and the podcast, and if you want to find out more about what we do, CatholicUnderground.com is the place to go. Father Ryan's church is online at minerbasilica.org. He's at FR Humphreys on Twitter. Thank you, Father Ryan.
It's been my distinct pleasure.
You got Jeff Blackwell as the tech director for the CU. He's the despot over at the Blackwell Communications Group. JeffBlackwell.us, and Jeff Blackwell is on Twitter. Thank you, Jeff.
It's always an honor and privilege, Father.
Kathleen Lee is the Faith Ninja at KathleenYABR. Thank you, Kathleen.
Anytime.
And Ed Ball is on the ball with our video feed this week. He dresses up at kids' birthday parties as Master Ninja. And you know me, I'm Father Chris Decker. You can follow me on Twitter at Digital Catholic. Join us for more from the Catholic Underground at CatholicUnderground.tv. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us on the digital continent. We are Catholic Underground. We are Faith Gone Digital, and we will see you in a couple of weeks because we're going to Italy.
From the Catholic Underground.